Summertime in the kitchen for our family means a lot of meals using up the bounty of the garden. I really prefer meals that are quick and easy, especially during the summertime, where I'm not spending a lot of time by a hot stove or having to turn the oven on very often. So a few garden salads are on the menu for this week. We enjoyed 3 different salads that were all delicious, a power bowl that is a family staple, and of course some tacos with fresh milled flour tortillas. Here we're starting off with, I guess you could call it a Cobb salad without the egg. Lettuce does really well in my backyard garden, and I enjoy growing all sorts of varieties. I know some will tear their lettuce. I just find that it's so much easier just to chop it. Here is a type called Ezrilla or Ezria. It is one of my favorites and has a great crunch and adds wonderful texture to the salad. Having dark red varieties like Merlot also makes for such a beautiful pop of color in a salad. You can really add anything to a salad. Cabbage, carrots, cucumber, celery, you get it. The list goes on and on. There are endless ideas. Since we grow a lot of lettuce, I'll often look for ideas on Pinterest and try to remember them for times like these just to keep it different and have a variety for our family so we're not eating all the same thing. You'll notice on this particular salad, I'm a little bit more strategic on where I'm placing my toppings. I've found that by placing the toppings in little bunches around the bowl makes for a really beautiful presentation. I don't do this every time, as you will see later in this video, but I guess today I felt like we needed a prettier salad. If salad is our main dish for a meal, I plan to have a protein added to it. This was a quick dinner for us tonight, so I just added some lunch meat, which my kids love when I add this. You might ask, Amy, do your kids actually eat salads? Yes, they do. However, they haven't always liked salads. It really started when I involved them in the process of growing lettuce in the garden. We try and have a large variety of meals and food types to expose our kids to a whole range of tastes and textures, but the biggest way I have seen my kids expand their palate and the food they like is by being involved in the garden from the beginning of starting little seedlings in the basement all the way to harvesting in the garden to chopping it up for a meal. Yes, there's still things my kids don't prefer, but they do a pretty good job at trying almost everything. So to finish off this salad, I'm just adding some herbs. I think it's really beautiful with the variety of colors, and it definitely got gobbled up by my family. This next meal, I made what we call in our family power bowls. It's basically just a grain with some sort of meat and a bunch of different toppings, which are either roasted veggies or fresh veggies, and some sort of sauce. They are some of our favorites, and the options are endless. You could go more of an Asian route, you could do more of a Mexican bowl, like taco bowls. Really, anything like that would work. So this particular night, my grain is quinoa, so I got that started in the pot back on the stove. And I'm just chopping up some onions and adding some garlic and sauteing that. I'll be adding some pasture-raised pork to this power bowl for our protein. This is 100% pasture-raised pork. I've been getting this recently from Wild Pastures, and I have been really happy with the quality of the meat, so I'm super grateful to have that resource. So I'm just getting the different toppings here. We can serve this with lots of different things, but for this particular night, I just have some chopped up cabbage and some finely chopped kale and some green onions. To the meat, I'm just going to be adding some pepper and then some Sanjay gluten-free tamari sauce. I think it adds such a great flavor. Here I'm just adding some olive oil and lemon juice and salt and pepper to my raw vegetable toppings, and we'll just give those a mix and kind of let them marinate as I'm preparing all the other toppings. To have a good power bowl, in my family's opinion, you have to have a really good sauce. And so here for this power bowl today, I'm going to be making a tahini sauce. It's one of our favorites and really easy. It looks like a lot of ingredients, but it's super easy. So to this jar, I'm just adding some preserved garlic that I had done, and then a hot chili pepper paste. This is a fermented chili pepper paste. It's just kind of what I had on hand, but you could do any chili pepper paste or sriracha, something like that. I'm going to add some tahini sauce. I'm just going to use up that whole jar. Here I'm just adding some sesame oil, and then we will do some rice wine vinegar and then some more of that Sanjay tamari sauce. I can link a basic recipe that I have for this. I kind of follow it, and just because of who I am and how I cook and bake, I make it up myself as I go and use what ingredients I have, and so it's never really the same, so I apologize for that if that's confusing to you, but I'll try to link a similar one. Here I'm just using my immersion blender, which is great if you don't have one of those. They're one of the appliances that I often use in my kitchen, but I'm just mixing it up and adding a little bit more water to it just to get it to the consistency that I like. I'm just giving the meat on the stove a stir, and I had forgotten to mention, but I did have some sweet potatoes roasting in the oven, so that is just another topping for these power bowls. To plate these, you just load them up into a bowl, pretty simple. Quinoa is such a great grain to have. I actually like it better than rice, and it's full of protein, and we really do like the texture of it. I know that sometimes people don't like quinoa and the texture, but my family doesn't mind it. So we just put all the toppings on it. You can make it look really pretty, or you can just load it all on top, just whatever your preference is and the time that you have. But this was definitely a favorite meal from this week for all of my family, and is also a great meal for leftovers because they store really well all together, and you can just warm it up or eat it cold. It's just whatever your preference is. Either way, we like and find really enjoyable, and it just keeps really well, so that's always just a bonus. So this is a total rookie mistake, but I realized that my camera was not filming when I made this meal. So I apologize for not having any footage for that except here for the end when I realized it was not filming. These tortillas I had made from fresh milled flour and they were delicious. They are so pliable, they did not rip or crack, and I'm pretty sure we ate that whole thing of tortillas. The kids devoured them as well as my husband and I. Tacos are just easy. You can do whatever toppings you want. This was kind of just simple, just some meat that I had added some black beans to. I think I cooked it in some salsa and different seasonings, and of course just some of your regular toppings like salsa and sour cream and different herbs from the garden. For this next meal, I am just seasoning some steak here that I'm going to go grill on the grill outside. To season my steaks, I usually keep it really simple. I want the steak to shine rather than all of the seasonings, so I just do salt, pepper, and some garlic powder and just kind of let it sit. Here's a bunch of lettuce. You've already seen me chop it up and do all of that, so I didn't want to bore you with that again, but I just still can't get over all the colors and all the textures. It just blows me away every single year that we grow lettuce, and it is so fun. I think it is one of my favorite parts of the garden, and if you haven't ever tried to do lettuce, I highly recommend it. It's so easy. I rarely have issues with it. You just want to make sure that you start growing them earlier in your season because different varieties will start to bolt as the summer just gets hotter. Here are some peas from our garden. I did some shelling peas this summer, and of course I'm spilling them all over the counter, but we're adding peas to this salad tonight, which added a fun texture and the kids really enjoyed it. You can tell this time I was a little bit more in a rush. I'm just throwing it all into the bowl, but of course we're doing celery and cucumbers. For this particular salad, we added the pickled radishes that we had made in a video a while back, and that was delicious. We continue to really love this and enjoy it on all sorts of different things, but probably particularly our salads. It just adds a really great crunch and texture, but also just a really good pickled flavor. For this salad, I'm going to be making my own salad dressing. If you haven't made your own salad dressing, it is so easy, and just like salad toppings, there are endless opportunities of salad dressings. So here I'm just pointing out where my vinegar line is. So I think it's probably about a half of a cup, but I'm adding some Dijon mustard and some honey, and then some more of that preserved garlic. It's just garlic and olive oil, just a splash of lemon juice. And I'm pointing out where my line of my vinegar and lemon juice is, and I'm just going to try and do about the same amount as olive oil. That is dependent really on how vinegary you want your salad dressing to be. So we like it about half and half, so half vinegar, half olive oil. So then a lot of cracked black pepper, and then the star of this salad dressing tonight are garden herbs. So I don't care about any of the stems. I just stick it all in. So this is 2 different varieties of parsley and some basil, and then a bunch of chives. And I just take my immersion blender and start blitzing it up. Here my steak is grilled, and I have found with my kids, rather than just sticking a big old hunk of steak on their plate, it's just easier to have it sliced up for them. And so I just go ahead and do that for all of it and keep it in that dish and serve it that way. It seems to be enjoyed more that way than, sometimes steak can be a little bit chewy. This particular night, it was so tender, so delicious, but I just chop it up and serve it that way. I forgot to add green onions to this salad, so I'm just going to add that for my last addition and put some of the dressing we had made and mix it all up. This looks like a really big salad, but gosh, we were so hungry this day, so I made a lot of salad, and you'll see our plates are probably going to seem very full for this particular dinner, but I will say it was all eaten and everybody enjoyed it and felt full. I had some sandwich bread left over that needed to be eaten, so I just decided to toast that up and serve that on the side. Here I'm just plating up the food for the kids, and I will say that my 4-year-old is my child that probably doesn't enjoy salad as much as the others. She will eat it, but it sometimes is more of a push, and so I just put a little bit on her plate and have her give it a try. She'll often, eat the carrots or the peas or cucumbers, more of the vegetable topping than the actual lettuce, but it's just exposing her to the different tastes and textures, and each time I feel like she's getting a little bit better at trying different things. I went ahead and served this with some sauerkraut that we had been fermenting on the counter, and my kids actually do like sauerkraut, and I love the benefits of it. It's so wonderful for our bodies. I had some leftover rice that I thought the kids would enjoy in this meal with their steak, so I went ahead and added that and then served it up with the steak on top. My husband and I, we just had the salad and put the steak right on top and enjoyed it that way. And this was so delicious. And that herb salad dressing is so good. So this particular salad was kind of a spin-off on a Caesar salad. We really like Caesar salads, but sometimes, there's just not like a whole lot to it other than like lettuce and croutons. So I'm trying to just add different things. So one of those additions were some noodles, and kids really like having the noodles in the salad, and just helps it not be always the same over and over again. You will notice that my bag here rips, and I had noodles spill all over. So that, of course, is just something that happens. I was kind of frustrated because I did not want to cook all of those noodles in that bowl, but they all just kind of fell out and went all over the stove. And then, of course, I'm cleaning this up because it took me a while. I had to turn it all off and get all the noodles that were all over the stove off. And while I was doing that, my croutons burnt in the oven, and I totally forgot about those. So that was also just a frustrating thing, but goes to show you not everything goes super great in my kitchen, and that is just how life goes sometimes. We have to stay flexible and kind of just laugh at ourselves. Here I'm seasoning some chicken breasts that I actually filleted lengthwise, so they're a little bit thinner than like a whole chicken breast. So I'm just seasoning that with some salt and pepper, and then some Greek herb seasoning, which is basically just kind of oregano and thyme, rosemary. There's some red pepper flakes in it. If I'm going to be serving salads on a regular basis or multiple nights throughout the week, I really do try to keep a variety going. I know that the kids would probably not be thrilled with the same salad every week, so that's why you see just lots of different toppings, lots of different ideas. I added some marinated artichoke hearts to the salad. That's one of my favorite toppings for a salad, and it just adds a really fun taste to it. I went ahead and added some of that marinade to the chicken because I felt like the chicken was a little bit dry. I actually usually do chicken thighs, but this particular night I had chicken breasts, and so I'm just going to add a little bit of this marinade to it to keep it a bit more moist and juicy. After these noodles were cooking, I did rinse them under some cold water for quite a while just because I wanted them to be more on the cooler side. I didn't want to add hot noodles to a salad. So here I add that to the salad. I'm going to add this Caesar salad dressing. It's just a simple recipe that I found online. I did not have a whole lot of it, so I went ahead and added some of that artichoke marinade to it and mixed it up and pour that on top, and that made a delicious dressing. So I might have to do that again. I think that would be fun just to use all of that marinade up and not let it go to waste. Here you just mix it up, obviously, get those noodles all coated in the dressing. This salad was really delicious and my family really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed watching this What We Eat in a Week garden salad edition. We had a lot of fun just doing different salad varieties and using up a lot of our garden produce. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'm so grateful that you stuck around and watched. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, that really helps a new channel like mine grow and encourages me in what I'm doing. So I'm so grateful that you're here for the journey. Thank you for following along, and we'll see you next time.